Do you know what the number one skill is? Now, there's some debate about this, but years ago when I was 12 years old, I had my scout leader of all people asked us, what is the most valuable skill you could possibly learn? And some of us were like, oh, to play basketball. And others were like, oh, no, it's not basketball. You got to learn how to be on computers. And there's some debate back and forth. And he said to us, he said, actually, the most valuable thing that people can learn, now there are some very specialty skills that will pay vast amounts, but by and large, the most valuable skill that anyone on this earth can master is the ability to communicate, the ability to talk and to hear and to share ideas, receive ideas. The ability from that is the ability to sell, to persuade. And when he said that, I was kind of like, wait, what? How is communicating so important? And he said, well, let's look at it a few different ways. And he explained to us, because we were all in shock. We're like, what? Really? Communication? Like, we communicate, no problem. Like, you can't get us to shut up. We're over here having our own little conversation while you're trying to... Anyway, he explained that if you look at jobs as a whole, especially at that time, the highest paid skill was that of sales. And someone in sales really had an unlimited earning potential. And the number one job of somebody who's in sales is they have to be a good communicator. It's not the product, it's not the service, it's not the offer, none of that matters. If the person that's doing the talking, if that person who's trying to be a salesman cannot be an effective communicator, it doesn't matter what they're selling, it's not going to work. People simply are not going to buy. So from that perspective alone, being an expert communicator is immensely valuable. But now let's look at some of the other aspects of life. Let's look at it from maybe just a personal development standpoint. If you're going through life and you're an awful communicator, are you going to be able to have good relationships with other people? It's going to be way more difficult. How expensive is it to go through a divorce? How often do people say, oh, it's a money issue or some other issue? But if you track back, when you first got married, those two people generally were in love and they made a commitment to work out their problems and to be together. So what happened? Oftentimes, it starts by a breakdown in communication as one of the key parts that causes marriage to fail. And when marriage to fail, like there's the monetary side of a failed marriage, but on top of that, there's the emotional baggage that you're both going to have. And then there's the lost time that you're going to have. There's so much to that. So just that side alone, if you could be a better communicator between you and your spouse and head off maybe a divorce, or maybe you're not heading for divorce, but just your marriage isn't as strong as it could be. What would happen if you both leveled up your communication skill and you started having a great relationship again? What if you rewound back to the moment when you were first dating and in love and ready to get married? And all that could happen through starting to have good communication with each other. So how do you have good communication? How do you be good at sales? I mean, you look also, politicians, they're feeding us lines all the time. Now, some of them are, I think, yeah, there's probably some that are good somewhere out there. But most of them think they're doing good. Their perception is they're doing good. But oftentimes their perception of what's good, it doesn't line up with us, the average Americans, I'm guessing. So politicians, they'll have this amazing ability. They can get up, they can speak, they can communicate, they can tell all these stories and get everybody riled up. And before you know it, people are throwing money at them. We need you more than anything else. And they're giving them all kinds of money so that they can run a campaign, so that they can get a job. And how crazy is that? When was the last time you stood up and started speaking and had people throwing money? Oh, let me donate to you. Let me give you money so you can get a job. Like it just doesn't happen for normal people. So politicians can do it. You look at the leaders of industry and the big movers and shakers in this world, they all communicate, and they communicate in mass. And when they communicate, people are emotionally connected to it. Salesmen, leaders, politicians, in our marriages, all aspects of our life is touched all the time by communication. So here's a few tips for you on how to be a great communicator. One, you need to shut off everything in your mind. You need to be focused solely on that other person. Most of what they're going to be communicating to you is probably not going to come solely from the words they're saying. It's going to come from the tone. It's going to come from the speed. It's going to come from their body So are they hunched over? Are they excited in the motion that they're showing? Or is their face scrunched up? Can you tell those kinds of things? Oftentimes the words is just the frosting, but the rest of the cake is all those other aspects. So clear your mind and focus on them. Another thing that you can do is when they're talking, make sure that you're actively listening. Now, you can take notes to actively listen. You can repeat back to them, hey, I thought I heard you say that. You can ask them, hey, could you actually slow down? I'm not sure I got what you last said. Then you can come in and you can say, okay, I think that you said this to me. Is that right? And you're asking them for feedback on what they communicated to you. Have you noticed that we've yet to worry about what we're going to say? But that's another major pitfall. So many people get so stuck on being like, oh, I gotta think about what I'm gonna say. You don't. You gotta clear all that out. You have to let them finish speaking, let all the words, let all the things come in, immerse yourself in who they are, put yourself in their shoes metaphorically based on what they've said, and you're almost trying to create a map inside of your own head of where they're at in life. You're trying to picture what it's like to be in their shoes. When you can do that effectively, and you're no longer being yourself, but you're trying to understand and be them while they're communicating to you, you're going to become a master communicator. Now that can be really difficult if you have 10,000 people or if you have 300 or 100 people you're trying to speak to at once. And those rules are a little bit different when you're communicating in mass. But when you're having normal conversations, one-on-one or a small group, try these steps. Make sure that you're understanding who they are, what's important to them, what they care about. And the best way you know that is by watching, paying attention, reflecting back to them what they say. Ask them to slow down if they're talking too fast and you can't get it. Now, these tips are tricks that I've used personally. They're tricks that I've learned from others that are experts, and these really work. It's not a matter of whether they'll work, it's that they do. I'll leave you with this. I once had a neighbor, and I would start to talk, and about 7 words in, he knew what I was going to say, and you could see his eyes glaze over. He'd quit paying attention. Didn't matter what I said after that. He knew what he was going to respond before I'd even finished my sentence. And I could finish my sentence halfway through, and it wouldn't matter. He'd already know what he was going to say, and he'd start to say it. And sometimes I'd start off my sentence, and then I'd be changing completely the direction I'm talking about, and he missed all of that. He had no clue because he was so busy being in his own brain. As soon as he thought he knew what I was going to say, he finished the conversation in his head, came up with his response. He'd say what he thought he should say based on all the things that he had developed in his own head, when it was oftentimes completely different than what I said. So if you want to be more successful, make sure you're getting out of your own head and start understanding what's in their head.